Hi, I'm Dana.
And I'm Morgan.
We're both the co-founders of Fashion Metric. I pitched our idea of having this mobile app where shoppers, when they're shopping in a store for clothes, can take a picture of what they're deciding to buy and get access to a stylist in real time via the mobile app and get their opinion on what it is that they should buy so that they can help come to their final purchase decision while shopping. In this case, our customer hypothesis was a solo clothing shopper. We thought that shoppers that are in stores that are shopping by themselves don't have access to their friends that they would normally be shopping to ask their opinions. So we thought this customer segment would be interested in using something like this. And the problem hypothesis that we had for this customer segment is that they can't decide what to buy while they're shopping for clothes because they're shopping by themselves. And our solution hypothesis was, just as I said, this real-time advice via some mobile app. Our riskiest assumption was that this solo clothing shopper has a problem deciding what to buy when they're shopping by themselves. And so we set out to determine whether or not this was true, and we did this by following an exploration method, which means we go out to the clothing stores and stalked clothing shoppers that were by themselves and asked them really open-ended questions. So the question we asked was, what's the biggest problem that you have when you're shopping for clothes? And we were hoping that 50% of the people that we talked to would give an answer that alluded to something around having a difficulty deciding what to buy. So that was our minimum success criterion for this experiment. Not a single person that we talked to that day said that they had a difficult time deciding what to buy. So that was really interesting for us to learn that, oh wow, if we built this mobile app to help shoppers decide what to buy while they're shopping, we would probably have a really hard time getting customers to use it because it's not necessarily a real problem that people experience. All of the guys we talked to during this experiment gave essentially the same answer, which was, we said, what's the biggest problem you have while you're shopping for clothes? And the guys we talked to said, well, actually the biggest problem I have is that I have trouble finding clothes that fit. By thinking that customers had one problem, we discovered a new problem, and this ended up formulating our next experiment.
So now we're on to experiment number 2, and this is where the Javelin board is really, really useful because we were able to now look, okay, well now our customer is a metropolitan guy between the age of 20 and 40 years old. But now we've also iterated on our problem hypothesis because we found out that really the problem that guys were expressing to us is they had trouble finding clothes that fit. And our solution is we want to help guys find clothes that fit. We want to figure out really how deep is that pain point. Do guys really want someone to help them find clothes that fit? Is this something that's actually a real validated problem? Once again, fit came out. This was the leading answer to it. It really validated this was a deep problem, and it was a deep problem within this customer segment. So we were able to then go on to the next experiment because we said, great, we go back to the Javelin board and look and we go, okay, we validated the customer hypothesis, we validated the problem hypothesis, and this is really where we found the depth of that problem. Now it's time to move on to the next experiment.
So what is the solution that would best solve their problem? So in our third experiment, we started to play around with this idea. So our initial idea was creating this landing page, basically, that pitched the value proposition of being able to gain access to an app that lets you find stores around you with clothes that fit. In this case, our riskiest assumption was, will people sign up for a service that helps them find clothes that fit? And we were hoping for a good 80% of the traffic that we drove to the site, we were hoping to sign up for our service. We had really successful sign-up percentage from this third experiment, and so we felt really good about the fact that this customer segment seems to exist that has this problem around finding clothes that fit, and some initial interest in that this segment of people would actually use a service or a product to help alleviate the pain point around finding clothes that fit.
After Lean Startup Machine, we continued on and decided to do this company full time. But the great thing was we still had the Javelin board, which we could use to continue to run experiments, because what we found out is we answered a lot of questions over the weekend, but we still had a lot more questions and a lot to learn from our customers. We know that customers have this problem with fit, and we found out they do want to solve it. But the question is, well, how many questions would they be willing to answer? Are customers actually comfortable answering these questions? Because if they're not, well, then we have a problem of our own. And so we were able to put that in and have the solution hypothesis initially be us actually calling them on the phone and asking them these questions. And we determined, okay, they're comfortable asking them on the phone, but now we need to iterate again. So once again, back to the Javelin board, and we have a new problem. Are customers willing to answer these questions on a website? So then the solution then is a website that asks these questions, but asks the smaller set of questions that we determined through our previous experiment they were comfortable asking. And so you can see how the Javelin board is actually something that goes beyond a weekend event, but actually can be used in your company every single day, because these are experiments that you're running continuously.
At that point is when we actually built out our fit technology, and then we ended up driving tons of traffic to our site and creating relationships with brand partners and working with customers to fit them into hundreds of shirts at this point. At that point, we had a fit technology validated. We had initial customer interest in terms of we know that they have a problem and that we know that they're willing to use our service to solve the problem. So then really at that point, we decided to build out a full e-commerce platform.
You honestly are a different person on Friday night when you enter a lean startup machine than on Sunday night when you leave it.
Yeah.
You see the world differently, and there's absolutely no way that you can go back to the original you. It changes the way you think about things. It changes the way that you see problems, and it changes the way that you look at approaching all these ideas that you have in your head, and really gives you a concrete way and a methodology to look at problems and look at customers and really create something that people want.